Specifically about the reason for the move, he told reporters that, quote, the security situation in Aden is such that the combat commander wanted his carrier over there. Okay. The U.S. Navy has been briefing up its presence in the Gulf and the southern Arabian Sea. Out of Tel Aviv, while U.S. government agencies have strongly denied a Judicial Watch report claiming there are ISA camps near the U.S. border with Mexico, lawmakers have expressed fears the global jihadist organization is linking up with deadly drug cartels. Such a partnership will not only help to facilitate the smuggling of jihadists into the United States, but could ultimately translate into a devastating terrorist attack on American soil, such as electromagnetic pulse or EMP catastrophe. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Northern Command and the Texas Department of Public Safety have all denied the April 14th Judicial Watch report, citing unnamed sources that include a Mexican Army field-grade officer and a Mexican federal police inspector. The sources claim ISA has established its base around 8 miles from the U.S. border in an area known as Apara, situated just west of Juarez in the Mexican state of Chihuahua. Judicial Watch further reported on an ISA camp west of Juarez, which the organization said was planning to attack towns in New Mexico. Now, Representative Beto O'Rourke, Democrat, that's a Democrat from Texas, he said he contacted the Mexican government, DHS, and the Northern Command, all whom told him they have no intelligence indicating ISA is operating on the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, me, I say, well, let's see now. You got the U.S. Northern Command, the Department of Homeland Security, and a Democrat telling you that Judicial Watch is wrong. You know who I believe? I think I'm going to stick with Judicial Watch, okay? Just so you know. Hillary Rodham Clinton stuck with her centrist persona yesterday when her presidential campaign delved into the Social Security debate, ignoring liberal calls to expand benefits even as she bemoaned the flight of a New Hampshire woman forced out of retirement and back to work simply because of skimpy benefit checks. The former Secretary of State pressed the woman during a roundtable discussion to reveal her monthly Social Security income to highlight the problems faced by seniors. And she asked for the financial information, even though her campaign repeatedly is refusing to say whether the 67-year-old candidate, Hillary Rodham Clinton, herself collects benefits, or how much she pockets. Well, you don't need to know, but I want to know about this lady. You don't need to know about me. Mrs. Clinton said only that as president she would be 100% committed to providing retirees a good quality of life. Now, Hillary's official presidential announcement was a golden opportunity for the networks to demand that the former Secretary of State respond to unanswered questions, for example, about her email scandal. But you might as well get used to it. She is a Democrat, and you know the mainstream media, right? Perfect opportunity. Let's ask her about her email scandal. Yet in the flurry of coverage since her official rollout, April 12th, between April 12th, April 20th, the email scandal garnered a total of 7 minutes and 12 seconds on the big three. That's ABC, CBS, NBC, on the evening and morning shows. 7 minutes, 12 seconds. The best example for Obamacare comes out of California. That's what they were saying. You know, you can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan, and the best example will be California. California's health insurance exchange, established under the Affordable Care Act, has been held out as the national model for Obamacare. In some ways, not all of them good. Whether it's falling for short of 2015 enrollment goals or sending out 100,000 inaccurate tax forms, California is struggling. Yes, now several senior-level officials integral to the launch of Covered California, who enthusiastically supported the Obamacare, are speaking about what they view as gross incompetence, mismanagement, involving some $1 billion in federal tax dollars. For example, Covered California's publicly touted 30,000 successful enrollments in the very first month. Listener, they were lying to you. The actual number comes to be closer to 4,000. A lot of information, they say, that came out of Covered California was misleading, misspeak, or, are you ready for this, outright lies. They tell you 30,000 successful. Isn't Obamacare wonderful? But when the facts come out, the 30,000 dwindled to 4,000. All right, we're going to take a break. J.T. O'Donnell coming up next.
Hi, this is Warren Eckstein. Get the jump on fleas before they get the jump on you. Cedarside Original from Cedarside.com is a must-have to eliminate fleas and ticks. Cedarside.com's products are made with 100% natural cedar oil and are safe for kids, pets, and adults. Cedarside's original organic bug spray repels and kills mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, flies, ear mites, mange, and more. Order some today. Go to Cedarside.com. Use coupon code Warren at checkout to get free shipping or call 800-842-1464 and mention my name, Warren Eckstein, Cedarside for people, pets, and premises.
Homeowners, there's never been a more affordable time to help protect your home and loved ones. You can now get a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home, your authorized ADT dealer, with the installation of a new ADT monitored system. Call Protect Your Home today at 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. Call now. 36-month monitoring contract required. General terms and conditions apply. Visit protectyourhome.com/terms.
Many people who don't ask for money for their company or for a donation to a charity wait for some magical sign that says, now's the time. But expert Laura Fredericks believes to create that moment, you set it up.
Because hitting people out of the blue about something they're absolutely clueless about, they're going to need some education about it. Say if you want someone to invest in a new business you have, are they involved in it? Do they know you well enough? Do they know, trust, and love you? Because most people will give to people because of that trust and that bond.
Then check out if now is a good time with this question.
If and when you wanted to make a major investment with us, kind of what would that look like? If the person says, I have no idea because I don't even know what investments you have, you have to go back. They need a little more education. They need a little more trust in you. And then lastly, if you're asking for money, obviously you have to ask for the right amount. You can't ask someone for $1 million if most of them ever invested is $1,000.
Laura Fredericks' book is The Ask. That's Primetime Focus, brought to you by AARP. I'm Aileen Ellis.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, Ph.D., host of Healthline. Join me live to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family. This month, our Dragon Cleanse LX is on special. This has been studied for its extraordinary ability to bind a wide variety of toxins in the gastrointestinal tract, especially those that have dicarbonyl chemical structures or that bind to calcium-dependent binding sites. Research suggests it doesn't bind beneficial nutrients because of its unique structure. With the ever-increasing amount of toxins in our food and our environment, here's a practical, inexpensive way to mitigate the problem. Buy 2 bottles and get the third one free. Call 800-370-3447. That's 800-370-3447.
Listen to Helpline daily at 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on CRN.
Everybody's talking at me.
CRN and Chuck Wilder. Hey, let me tell you about my guest, Jeannie Tanner. We call her JT O'Donnell, founder of Career HMO. She is also founder of Careerism.com, top-ranked career advice blog. JT is a career strategist and workplace consultant who helps American workers of all ages find greater professional satisfaction. Unlike other advisors, she works with both individual clients and corporations, giving her access to emerging workforce trends. Graduate of Tufts University with a degree in engineering psychology, she has 18-plus years of experience managing, training, and coaching people of all ages on a wide variety of career topics. And her work has been cited in Wall Street Journal, U.S. Today, New York Times, Boston Globe, dozens of other national publications. JT, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Hey, I'm glad to have you here. You know, I'll just tell the listeners I belong to LinkedIn, and I'm going through some of that, and all of a sudden I ran across this piece that JT had posted, and it was entitled "Over 40, the Major Interview Mistake You Could Be Making." So if you're 40 or older and might be looking for a new career or, you know, a new job, you might want to listen to what we're going to talk about, because you did a recent study and you said, 87% of seasoned professionals over the age of 40 believe that age discrimination is hurting their chances of getting a job. But JT says maybe it's not discrimination. It might be other things.
This is true. I think the natural inclination is to assume it's your age, and I would argue it's more likely your experience, which some people might say, well, isn't that the same thing? But it's not. You can present yourself in a way that's ageless, but if you are presenting yourself in a fashion where you are pushing your experience too much, you actually can scare employers away. And with more than 50% of the workforce right now being made up of millennial workers, that would be those 20-something workers, we are starting to become the minority if you're over 40 in the workplace. And that means we need to pay attention to the social cues and emotional cues and ways that we present ourselves in that interview so that we can endear ourselves to all age groups.
Well, JT, now let me back up here. So you're saying that, say, if a person goes in, they might be sending the wrong message because they're over-impressing the person.
They are.
But it would
Isn't
seem
that
like you'd say, look, you got a whole line of people out here. You know, there's 15 guys that want this job. I'll just use guys, you know, as a reference. Could be men or women or whatever. And maybe, I mean, it would seem like you would want to come across like, perhaps I have more experience than these other guys out here. Maybe I'm more eager. But you're saying, no, don't try to over-impress them, huh?
That's just it. And, you know, I try to flip it around for folks to give you an idea. If you've ever gone into the store with a really clear idea of what you want to purchase and how much you want to spend, I can't think there's not a single person out there listening that hasn't done that, only to be oversold, to have the person say, no, you want this, and it's got all these bells and all these whistles, and it only costs you a little bit more. It's a very unnerving feeling, and that's exactly what you are doing to those employers. You are creating the complete wrong impression about yourself, and while they're probably smiling and nodding and being nice to you in the interview, as soon as you leave, they're thinking, no way. I'm
going to read off some of these. You have a list here where people might be presenting themselves. We got about a minute before our break. Too aggressive, know-it-all. You hear that little beeping sound. I have to back up about every 15 minutes to let other talk shows try to catch up, so that's what that beeping is. Anyway, too aggressive. Perhaps you come across as a know-it-all, or you're trying too hard, acting desperate. You're set in your ways. Too talkative. Boy, you know, that could be me. I'll tell you, I could probably shoot myself right out of a job right there. You say nobody sets out to do that stuff, but it happens. And maybe you don't realize it's happening.
No, and I would argue you don't.
Now, when we come back, let's talk about this Give Yourself a Business of One makeover. I want to find out what that is, and rethinking your approach to interview answers. I'll tell you, listener, if you're over 40, unemployed, and you're worried about getting a job or you're thinking about getting a new job, you might want to check this out. And the website is Career Realism. That's CareerEalism.com. And there's something on that website that I saw, too, that I got to ask you about when we come back. J.T. O'Donnell, she is the founder of CareerLism.com, and we'll continue in just a moment.
This is the Mike Huckabee Report for Tuesday. I'm Mike Huckabee. Young people are more connected to each other than ever before. They're also lonelier. Details next. Looking forward to your tax refund? Well, so are identity thieves who steal refunds by filing fraudulent tax returns. Last year alone, they stole more than an estimated $5 billion from hard-working Americans just like you. Once an identity thief gets a hold of your tax forms, watch out. They know that virtually all the information they need to steal your identity and even your life savings is right there. Help protect yourself with LifeLock Ultimate Plus. LifeLock Ultimate Plus provides protection for your Social Security number, bank accounts, investments, even the equity in your home. And while no one can stop all identity theft and nobody can monitor every single business, LifeLock Ultimate Plus provides their most comprehensive identity theft protection available. If you're filing taxes this year, especially if you're filing online, do what I did and get LifeLock Ultimate Plus. Visit LifeLock.com/Huckabee now or call and use promo code Huckabee to save 10% on your LifeLock Ultimate Plus membership. Call 1-800-240-LOCK, 800-240-LOCK, 800-240-LOCK. We think of older people as being lonely and young people being constantly communicating with thousands of Facebook friends. But a survey in Great Britain found that half the people over 55 say they never feel lonely. Among 18 to 34-year-olds, 80% feel lonely sometimes, and 43% wish they had more friends. Users of sites like Facebook invent fake personas and then post photos of every fun thing they do, which makes people who see them feel dull and left out. Experts advise young people to start socializing like their parents did. Join some groups, go to concerts or church, make friends in person, and for gosh sake, put down the smartphones. Remember, a virtual friend will like a photo of your new couch, but a real friend will help you move it. Sunday, Oklahoma City observed the 20th anniversary of the bombing of the Murrah Federal Building. Former U.S. soldier Timothy McVeigh executed for 11 counts of murder, conspiracy, and using a weapon of mass destruction, resulting in the deaths of 168 people and injuries to over 500 more, including small children. His fellow conspirator, Terry Nichols, remains in prison for life without parole. We must never forget the victims of the Oklahoma City bombing or the heroic first responders who ran toward it. It was the worst homegrown terrorist attack in U.S. history. And these days, if we forget it, we risk seeing another that might be even worse. If the bills seem a little higher, it's not your imagination. The Consumer Price Index rose 0.2% in March. That was up by the same percentage in February. Mostly to blame, rising prices for gas and housing, two things that had been lower than usual for a while. That slight rise in inflation has experts predicting that the Fed might raise interest rates to counteract it. Of course, that'll make borrowing money more expensive, and a lot of Americans haven't seen a raise in real money terms for years. Of course, if workers finally did get a raise, you know what that would cause? Inflation. That's why economics sometimes seems like an endless game of whack-a-mole. And finally, at the Asia World Electronics Expo in Hong Kong, American robotics designer David Hansen unveiled what could be the creepy face of the future. It's a robot, but it has an incredibly lifelike face, complete with moving eyebrows and pores in his artificial skin. It forms human-like facial expressions, and it can even look people in the eye, recognize their feelings, and engage them in dialogue like an actual human being. I hear some Democrats are already begging it to run for president. And this is the Mike Huckabee Report.
Everybody's talking at me.
Chuck Wilder, CRN with my guest, J.T. O'Donnell. JT, I don't know, were you listening to the Huckabee Report there about the robots?
I was.
I was just thinking it kind of ties in, doesn't it? You're going to have to start, maybe you're already ahead of this. People are competing against robots here, and pretty soon it's going to be more than you think. Boy. Here you have, keep in mind that you're a service provider to employers, learning what employers really want and how they want you to present it. You can reframe your personal brand, start making the right impression. But the thing is, are you recommending they go to a website, or how do they survey or examine a potential employer?
Right. Well, I think the first thing you have to do is step back, like I said, and adopt a business of one mentality. So if I'm a service provider, I'm going to need to ask some really good questions to understand what the pain points are and how I can deliver on those pain points and alleviate that pain. And the mistake that we're seeing people over the age of 40 make is they go in very enthusiastic because they have a lot of skills and information and knowledge, and they feel like they already know the answer to what they need and that they have what they need. And if I just share that with you, you're going to see it too. But that's not how that process works. The employer wants to make sure you truly and deeply understand what challenges they're having and why this job exists in the first place. So you can't go running in there, as we say, spraying and praying with all these great ideas. You need to pull back and you need to ask questions and listen carefully, and then start to share very specifically how you might be able to support them in that effort. Keeping in mind that if you deliver too much of a tone around, I can do this, I'm superhuman, it will backfire because nobody believes that.
I notice, that you're also founder of Career HMO, and that's careerhmo.com. And then we have the other one here. Let me find it. Careerlism.com. What's the difference between those two websites? And if we've got listeners right now that are wanting to go out and interview for a job, should they check both of those websites?
They certainly can. So Careerlism is a free advice site, and that's where we focus on helping people understand, to your question, what companies are really looking for in professionals today. Our clients are actually companies who are sharing their stories and helping people understand what they need in top talent today. So it's a great place to go learn and research that for free. Career HMO is.
Let me ask you real quick: is the Career, is that where they have the free video series that you have?
Well, actually, the free video series is on the Career HMO site. So the sister site actually came out of Careerlism. We had a lot of people saying, I need more structured help and support in my job search, in my career development. So yes, we have several free series over there, including one for seasoned workers, to help them do better in their job search. And it's a free set of videos where we really walk you through not just this example about the interviewing, but 8 other examples of where you could be breaking down in that job search process if you're over 40.
Now, also, this morning I was at careerrealism.com. For some reason I have a problem with that, and I didn't drink this morning, so I don't know what it is.
No, we take the extra syllable out. We just say Careerlism. We say it really fast.
Careerlism, okay.
You got it.
And I noticed over there that there was these little links on the right-hand side, and I'm trying to remember. One of them was like resumes, and now can you click on there and actually see a free resume, a professional resume that you recommend? Am I right on that, or did I look at it wrong?
No, what you can do is it was just listing possibilities of topics, but you can search on that site for resumes, and we do have a video tutorial there that talks about all the latest trends in resumes, which is a big deal because unfortunately resumes are still a necessity these days, and they're often what's getting you screened out of the process. In fact, 8 out of 10 times your resume is probably being tossed by the applicant tracking system of a corporation. So if you aren't paying attention to that, it could be one of the reasons you're not getting any calls back.
Before we run out of time, what would be the main reason they're tossing your resume? Too long?
It's several things. Mostly that you are not what we would call a keyword match. So these applicant tracking systems use a set of keywords defined to pull the resumes that best match, and the majority of us don't know what those keywords are, and we don't have enough density in our resume for that. So to your point, really long resumes, believe it or not, decrease the density of the keywords that are being used in them, and that's normally why you're being tossed from the system. So here you are with a 3-page resume and lots of experience, and you think you're perfect for the job, but believe it or not, the person with the 1-page resume is probably getting the call.
And now I know why the pole dancing company never called me back. Now,
there you go.
Cut it down. All right. Hey, if people want to follow you other than careerhmo.com and Careerlism, that's CareerEalism.com. I know you're on Facebook. Any other place?
Well, my favorite place to connect is on LinkedIn. All people need to do is just say, hey, I heard you on the show with Chuck, and I will accept your connection request. I'm an open networker there, and I really love to help people as much as I can.
Fantastic. Hey, first visit, we'll have to do it again. And let me tell the listener, it is Jeannie Tanner O'Donnell, O'Donnell, and we just call her JT, and check her out. I appreciate it. Look forward to the next visit.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good day. Right now, I want to turn to Dan Perkins. He's a master writer. He's the author, of the Brotherhood of the Red Nile trilogy, which centers around Islamic nuclear terrorism against the United States of America. Dan is a nationally recognized expert on radical Islam. And first off, hey, Dan, how are you doing? Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me back on again, please. Excuse me.
When I first set this up, Dan, I was really interested in an article you did about does Obama have this master plan or a secret plan to hand Gitmo over to the Castros? Because that's one of his achievements that he's going to accomplish, and he said that from day one. But the way things are changing right now, I want to get your 5 cents, used to be 2 cents, your 5 cents worth here about these warships and the showdown with Iran. I know that Iran just had their, what was it called, Army Day? Did they shout the normal death to America?
Yes. You're right.
Yeah, death to America. Okay, let's sign an agreement. Let's give them $50 billion tomorrow. Yeah. So what's your take on the warships? I mean, they're not there to watch people that don't have fishing license. There's a lot more to it than that.
Right. Yes, and there's a lot. What you've already said, there's a lot. I think the thing that you said that is almost as equally as important as the warship is that the rumor has it, not yet confirmed by the White House, that part of the treaty on nuclear disarmament for the part of Iran, that the United States is going to give them $50 billion in cash.
And you know what that's called? That's called a signing bonus. Can you believe that?
I don't know what the sports team is.
I'm serious. I'm looking at the... Go ahead.
I know you're right. I'm just playing with you. You're right. They are calling it a signing bonus. And what's interesting about it is that that's 15% of the GDP of the entire country. $50 billion is 15% of the entire current GDP of that country, and we're going to give it to them in cash for, as you said, signing bonus. There is,
yeah, I was just going to say that's just the tip of the iceberg too. because there's $11 billion that's been held up ever since they've had sanctions against them. And I have people, Dan, and I wanted to ask you this real quick too, and we still got to try to get in the Cuba story, but once this King Obama hands over these billions and billions and billions of dollars to Iran, they're going to have so much money to give to China and Russia on just about any piece of equipment they want, war-wise.
Well, I agree with you. There's no question. I mean, they look at the deal that Putin announced last week, where he's giving them, in essence, an anti-missile defense system that's going to protect their country against a attack either by the United States, Israel, or somebody else in the Middle East.
Obama warned them not to do that.
$600 million project, and I can't find anything that says that they are buying it as much as they may be getting it for free. So, we've talked about in the past. A lot of people have talked about that the problem with Iran and ISIL is that they're in the Middle Ages, and that they're not really dealing with the reality of the world in which we live in today, or perhaps a better statement, we aren't understanding the reality of their world today, which is another whole topic of discussion. But do you remember that during the Middle Ages there was a punishment called drawn and quartered? Remember that at all?
Yeah, I've heard it. Yes. They did it especially on Navy ships, didn't they?
No, this was done on land, and drawn and quartered in the Middle Ages. Each limb of the body was tied to a horse, and the horses were all forced to go in the opposite directions for the purposes of destroying the person alive. Okay.
Hard to do on a Navy ship. You're right.
True. If you get 4 Navy ships together, you might be able to do it. But my point is, of using that illustration, is that to answer to your question, I believe that Iran is consciously trying to draw and quarter the President of the United States. Now, just think about this. On one hand, he's trying to negotiate a treaty for nuclear disarmament. On the other hand, he's providing information to the Saudis to attack the Iran-supported rebels in Kenya. On the other hand, he's got trying to find ways in which to confuse the president by talking about sending these ships with supposedly arms to arm the people in Kenya, and he's also dealing with the group in Libya, which is now being backed by Iran, and we've got what's going on in other parts. So the president is being drawn in many different directions at the same time, and I think that while he may be a very intelligent man, I think the game that they're playing with him as attacking him on all fronts, trying to just screw up his brain, I think they're succeeding. I really do.
Well, and people say he's not getting respect because he's a lightweight when it comes to the military, and then all of a sudden here goes the USS Roosevelt, and and you really you suspect the timing. You're giving them $50 billion, and yet you're more or less, you're not threatening them, but you're making some of the Americans over here believe you are. Very confusing.
They're very,
and
very
then
good point.
The word came out the word came out that up to a year ago, he knew that they were only 2 or 3 months away from the bomb, and yet he was telling the American people that it was a year. So once again, Netanyahu was right.
Yeah, well, but before Benjamin Netanyahu came to the United States to speak in the joint session of Congress, a poll taken in Israel said that 75% of the Israeli citizens did not trust the President of the United States. At the same time, they took a poll in Israel, took another poll in the United States, and 63% of the American people don't believe him to be honest. So, are you surprised that he's still not necessarily telling the truth? No, we shouldn't be. But
no, not me.
What's happened? What's happened in the last year? What's happened in the last year, in just as an observer, what's going on, is that you have in the Middle East, especially in the terrorist nation, an all-out assault of genocide against Christians. They killed another 32 Christians in Libya on the same spot that they killed the 17, beheading and shooting them. They were all Ethiopians. They were there working just like the Coptic Christians who were murdered there, trying to find work to support their families. The other thing is that I think is going on is that we're not addressing at all. Maybe we should be, because ultimately it's going to affect us. If you followed the press over the weekend, there was the ship was leaving Libya or Kenya going towards Italy. And nobody knows for sure yet how many people, but I've seen reports as many as 900 people were killed. Now,
this morning said it was the worst Mediterranean disaster ever. 900. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, what you probably didn't see in any of the papers, because I only saw it on the BBC, where I get a lot of my international news. The BBC reported while this ship was going down and taking 900 people with it, 8,500 we called these migrants, again, false word,
human trafficking.
They should be calling them refugees, because they're coming from Syria, they're coming from all of these Middle Eastern countries that are in great turmoil, trying to escape to get a better life. The problem is that the Italian government...
Okay, Dan, hold it right there, Dan. And Dan, I got to interrupt you real quick because we got to take that break. Hold that thought right there, and we'll continue when you come back. Dan Perkins, he's the author, The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy, and we're going to tell you where you can get that. His website is Dan Perkins at SANIBEL.com. He's a contributor to thedailysurge.com and thehill.com. But we got to make sure to let you know where to get that book, The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy, and we'll continue the sea disaster story when we return.
Homeowners, now is the season to be thinking about your roof, because all it takes is one storm to turn a small roof problem into a major leak. If it's time for a new roof, call Sears at 888-465-9720. You can save $500 if you call right now. Sears licensed fully insured contractors can get your roofing job done right. Just call 888-465-9720. Sears has a variety of shingles and styles that are built for long-lasting performance, and you'll save $500 if you call now. So call Sears for a free in-home consultation at 888-465-9720. Hurry, offer ends soon. Not available in all areas. Installation provided by Sears authorized licensed contractors. License information available upon request. That's Sears Roofing. Call right now and save $500. Call 888-465-9720. 888-465-9720. Call Sears now and get that roof repaired. Call 888-465-9720.
Have you ever considered adding a home security system but thought it would be too expensive? Here's the good news. There's never been a more affordable time to help protect your home, valuables, and your loved ones. You can now get a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home, your authorized ADT dealer, with the installation of a new ADT monitored system. Here's even better news. Your new system, worth $850, is free. You pay just a $99 installation charge and purchase monthly monitoring for less than $2 a day. Call Protect Your Home today at 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. Get the peace of mind that comes with owning an ADT monitored system, plus a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home. Call now, 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. 36-month monitoring contract required. General terms and conditions apply. Visit protectyourhome.com/terms.
Geico Motorcycle presents Reflections from the Road.
Let me tell you, the road is a much more relaxing place since I switched to Geico Motorcycle Insurance and started saving money. With that taken care of, now I can think about deep, important things. Like how come it's a pair of pants when there's only one of them? A real brain teaser. But hey, at least saving money with Geico Motorcycle is as easy as pie. What does that mean, anyway?
Geico Motorcycle Insurance. See how much you could save.
Here on CRN, we'd like to keep you updated on what's happening in wine throughout the state of California. Napa, Sonoma. The Pacific Coast has great regions like the Central Coast area, Paso Robles, Santa Barbara, Temecula. Join our very own Larry Van Alst as he takes a look at what's cooking on wine, the Sonoma Report. It comes your way Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. right here on CRN. Winemakers, superstars, wine growers, and more. With Larry Van Alst, what's cooking on wine, the Sonoma Report.
Everybody's talking at me.
My guest, Dan Perkins, and he's the author of the Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy. And Dan, go ahead, sir.
Well, first of all, let me apologize. I just get so wound up when I'm talking about this stuff because I really want to help people understand, and I get sometimes I get a little over enthusiastic. So I apologize for that.
No problem. No problem.
So what I was saying was that there's a couple of things. There were about 8,500 people who came while the 900 were drowning in the boat. There were 8,500 who came across the border to Sicily. The European Union released a report yesterday, Chuck, that they believe that there's between 500,000 and a million. They're called them migrants, but they're basically refugees that's trying to escape the tyranny of what's going on in those countries in the Middle East, coming into the European shores. And the problem is, again, this is very difficult because they don't have the resources. It was a year ago that the Italian government basically scrapped their immigration operation because of the EU. They didn't feel like they needed it. So now you've got tens of thousands of people coming in through the Sicilian border into Italy, migrating throughout Europe, and no way to track them, no way to see what's going on. And they're very, very concerned about that. Well, we should also be concerned about that because as they come, if they're all the people that are coming across the border out of Libya are not necessarily refugees. Some of them could have ulterior motives.
Right.
And as a result, we are becoming increasingly more vulnerable as 500,000 to 1 million people move out of the Middle East into Central and Western Europe.
We have a habit of losing a lot of people once they get over here, too. Visas, sure. Illegally, whatever. Oh, we'll be back and report to you. Yeah, come on back and report to us later, and we'll see what we need to do with you, whether you get deported and 92% don't show up.
You're right. And so and I know we're short on time, but the Cuban situation is all, in my opinion, it's not worth the effort in this sense that the Cuban economy right now is worth about 1/6 of the state of New Jersey GDP. If it grows by 15% a year with all this cool money that's going to fly into the country, it'll double in 5 years. Doubling in 5 years takes it 40% to the size of the economy in the state of New Jersey only. There's no economic benefit to the United States down in Cuba.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Before we run out of time, the bottom line with Obama and Cuba has got to be his ego, right? Because he said, I'm going to close Gitmo, and this is the way he can do it.
Right. You have to turn it over to Raul Castro and let him do it for him. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
You know, your phone was cutting out there, or my earphones, one or the other. Sorry about that. Hey, listen, less than a minute. How can they get a copy of the book, The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy?
It's actually all 3 books are now available. The 3rd book is out. Go to Amazon.com and pick one up. They can ship it to you real quick, and I'd love to have them buy it.
And and if you really want to get a thriller, that gets you right in the heart of, we'll call it terrorism. We'll use that for the short version of it. You got it right there. The 3 books, The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy, Amazon.com, and your website is Dan Perkins at Sanibel, Sanibel?
Yes, .com.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan, and look forward to our next visit. Dan, by the way, also writes for thedailysurge.com and thehill.com. And the website again, Dan Perkins with an S at Sanibel, SANIBEL.com. Dan Perkins. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chuck, for having me on again.
Alan Karuba. Hey, appreciate it. Alan Karuba coming up next, author of Warning Signs. We're going to talk about the worst threat in the world. Oh, and they're celebrating it tomorrow. That's right. Don't go away.
Which was most appropriate because that was your theme.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio show sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high-definition digital sound? Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio's 6 channels of high-definition radio, you can now hear all of your favorite hosts like you've never heard them before in CRN HD. The difference is amazing. Catch your favorite political hosts like Dennis Prager, Tom Hartman, Barry Farber, and so many more. Entertainment and lifestyle programming like The Robert Conrad Show, The What's Cooking Show, and The What's Cooking on Wine Show, all in true CRN HD audio. Sports, business, travel, food, wine, politics, there is something for everyone, and it's all available in CRN High Definition Sound. Log on to www.crntalk for listings and information on all your favorite shows. That's www.crntalk.com.
The radio channels. The radio channels. CRN.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The Saudis and their coalition partners call it decisive storm. They say the airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen have now ended. Now comes the next phase, aimed at making sure the Iranian-backed rebels cannot operate while the country is rebuilt. White House spokesman Josh Earnest says fighting in Yemen has taken a big toll.
The conflict there has led to significant violence and an urgent humanitarian situation. Also, because the instability in that country is only going to be solved around the negotiating table.
He says the U.S. Navy has deployed ships in the waters off Yemen to first and foremost protect freedom of navigation and commerce. San Bernardino County, California approves a $650,000 settlement with a man beaten by sheriff's deputies following a horse chase that was captured on video. Also at SRNnews.com, a breakthrough in a Senate impasse over human trafficking legislation.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announced the deal on the human trafficking bill.
We can now say there is a bipartisan proposal that will allow us to complete action on this important legislation.
The deal aims to solve a lengthy dispute over abortion language that was included in the bill. Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid called resolution of that dispute long overdue.
Democrats and Republicans have come to an agreement on a path forward out of this pointless contrived fight.
The deal to move forward on the human trafficking bill now clears the way for the next item on the agenda, a vote on Attorney General nominee Loretta Lynch. Linda Kenyon, SRN News, Capitol Hill.
DEA Chief Michelle Leonhardt expected to resign soon. That today, according to an unnamed Obama administration official. A mixed close on Wall Street today with the Dow ending down 85 points to 17,950. The NASDAQ closed 20 points higher. This is SRN News.
What would an extra $250 a month mean to you? For some, it's a little financial breathing room. For others, it's a car payment, a home repair, or help with college tuition. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I've got some great news if you're looking to save money on your mortgage. All it takes is a simple phone call to Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Folks who refinance with HARP can save an average of $250 a month. That's $3,000 a year. Our home loan experts fully understand the HARP guidelines, and they'll walk you through our streamlined process. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And this year, for the first time, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. And MLS number 3030.
Following months of political infighting, Afghanistan's president finally has his new cabinet.
All of those sworn in on Tuesday are new faces. Many are young, educated, and come from professional backgrounds. For the first time, the 24-member cabinet includes 4 women. It's all in line with President Ghani's promise to allow technocrats to run the government instead of warlords and former fighters. But the new cabinet faces daunting challenges ahead. Afghanistan's economy is in shambles, and the emergence of the militant group Islamic State in parts of the country, along with Taliban militants refusing peace talks, security fears are growing.
The BBC's Shahzeb Jilani. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons has marked the centennial of the first large-scale use of gas during World War I, with a commemoration paying tribute to all victims of such weapons over the past century. This is SRN News. The country's largest trucking industry group wants the government to get moving on a rule requiring speed governors on big rigs.
While the American Trucking Association proposed the limiters 9 years ago, the rule has been stuck in government bureaucracy. The group says capping heavy truck speeds at 65 miles an hour would make the roads safer. The call follows an Associated Press story last month which noted that most big truck tires aren't designed to go over 75 miles an hour, yet 14 states have speed limits of 75 or higher.
SRN's Jeremy House. The world's fastest passenger train has broken its own speed record. Japan's maglev train hitting 375 miles per hour during a test run today. The previous record, 361, set back in 2003. The fastest train in the U.S. can reach 150 miles per hour, although usually gets nowhere near that speed. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you nearing eligibility for Medicare benefits? Then you know now is an important time in your life. Medicare benefits can be a complicated puzzle. You don't want to overpay for your Medicare coverage or get the wrong plan. Let Health Markets Insurance Agency help you. With one free phone call, a licensed insurance agent will help you select a Medicare plan that's right for you and your budget. If you're becoming eligible for Medicare, call today and learn how to get the most out of your benefits.
800-793-1960. 800-793-1960.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA or assumed name of InSphere Insurance Solutions, Inc., which is an authorized insurance agency in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Not all agents are licensed to sell all products. Service and product availability varies by state.
Call 800-793-1960. 800-793-1960. 800-793-1960. 800-793-1960.
Hi, this is Greg Hunter, the host who loves you the most on CRN Digital Talk. My show Nightside has famous guests, reviews of current attractions, films, plays, dining rooms, all the good things in life. That's at 9 on Sunday evenings. Once again, 9 o'clock Pacific Coast time, Sunday.
Everybody's talking at me.
CRN Digital Talk Radio and the original Talkback with yours truly, Chuck Wilder. I got Paul Stern up there near the network. No, wait a minute. He's at the network. And he's near the Hollywood Hills, yes. And we are live across America on this radio station, our cable system, and around the world at CRNTalk.com, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple, Blueberry, so many ways to get us. Hey, tomorrow, Marita Noon, author of Energy Freedom, and she is the executive director of Energy Makes America Great. We're going to talk about a commentary she just wrote, Deepwater Horizon, 5 years later, lessons learned. Wait until you hear this report. And Joe Gazzardi, Californians for Population Stabilization Media Director, going to be here giving us his latest, including Here Comes Sawyer, and There Goes Your Job. Sawyer, by the way, name of a robot. All right. Right now, let's go to the world-famous Alan Karuba, founder of the National Anxiety Center, editor of the blog, Facts Not Fantasy, author of Right Answers, Separating Fact from Fantasy, and Warning Signs. By the way, Alan's blog, factsnotfantasy.blogspot.com, has received over 4 million visits, and we certainly hope that you were one of those. You can also find his book views at bookviews.com. There you go. Alan, how are you?
I'm pooped. I've been writing like a crazy man trying
You're pooped from listening to
all those wonderful things you were saying about me. I was very impressed. I was sitting here listening, thinking, gee, I can't wait till this Alan Karuba gets on the line. Gee, I bet he has something to say.
Yeah, and
instead what I said was I'm pooped, right?
And I'm going to... You're pooped. Yes, okay. I thought maybe I made up something that wasn't real.
No,
I've never...
No,
yes,
no.
I have.
I'm just
Hey,
being...
you know what? Talk about What are you being? I want to know what you're being first, because we may have to cut this short here. What are you being?
What am I
Has
being?
nothing to do with an operation, does it?
No.
Yeah, you said I'm just being...
Oh, no, I'm just being my normal...
All right.
Tongue-in-cheek self. But when you ask
wonderful self.
How
yes.
are you?
Okay, there we go.
That's what I blurted out. Sometimes the truth is
all right, there you
strikes
go.
One is extraordinary.
Well, and also they say truth is stranger than fiction. I guess that's because they've heard you and I before. Or something like that.
No,
I don't know.
I started
you know
explaining...
what Yes.
I thought I lost your
I'm
sound
just
there.
like...
I started to explain that the reason I'm pooped is I've been writing, and of course that includes a lot of research in anticipation that tomorrow is Earth Day, and it's not like digging ditches, but it sometimes feels like that because there's a lot of brain power has to be applied in order to write something of real value that you want to put out there for the public to read.
Hey, this is going to make your day because a friend of mine, and you're aware of Media Research Center?
Oh, sure.
You are, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, not only do they have their website, but they also have MRC TV. A very good friend of mine, Craig Bannister, is over there, and he's the head man. And he just released this news item. And I said, my goodness, talk about perfect timing. Let me give it to you, all right?
Okay.
Underline, we'll observe Earth Day when the EPA observes the law. The National Federation of Independent Business, NFIB, which represents 350,000 small and independent business owners, said today, we'll observe Earth Day when the EPA observes the law. The President could do something meaningful tomorrow by sending the Waters Rule back to the EPA to be analyzed for its impact on small business. This from Don Bosch. He's the senior manager. The EPA recently submitted to the White House its final rule expanding the Clean Water Act, adopted by Congress 3 decades ago to protect navigable waterways like the rivers and the bays. And under the rule, and of course this is old news for listeners of this show because we've talked about it, under the rule, the agency could have jurisdiction over virtually any water, no matter how local, including backyard streams, farmer ponds, even creek beds, and depressions that are only wet for a few days a year. We've even talked about now they've included rainwater that you can't collect. And here's the final line. Regulatory agencies are supposed to access how new rules will affect small businesses. In this case, the EPA bypassed that step. So they're not going to observe Earth Day there. What do you think about that, King Obama and EPA? Take it away, Alan.
I think
you're going to talk about insanity.
We all talk of the old Soviet Union, communism. Well, what do you think communism was in real life? It was a government agency or agencies that had total control over your land, the house that you lived in, the building that you worked in. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at an EPA that is saying we have total authority to do what we think is right regarding your home. And if you have a pond in the back and we think it's too big or something's wrong with it, we can fine you thousands of dollars until you drain it. And this is not something I'm making up. This is something that's commonplace among landowners who have run afoul of the EPA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a horror story. We either we're in charge of the government, either it's a government of those who what is the government? The term I just want to
by the people, for the
by
people.
By the people, for the people, yes.
Supposed.
Consent of the governed. Yeah. We are the governed. And we are now in the control of a government that doesn't give a damn what we think or say. It is just